All right, everyone. I am live. Today I'm not playing a football game. I am playing a classic favorite of mine. Well, a remastered classic by the name of Rome Total War. I haven't played too much of this game, but the impression I have so far of this game is that the overwhelming majority of the changes are mostly graphical, as far as I can tell. The UI is a little bit different. Um, there might be a tiny handful of actual gameplay mechanic changes, or maybe traits or something like that that I've seen that I don't remember in the original. Um, but like I said, I haven't played too much of it, so I can't say for sure. But like the AI seems to be the same as original Rome Total War, which had its problems. Um, I was kind of hoping that they would uh, update it, even just a little bit. Um, that would make this game more playable. But unfortunately, it seems like it's not much different. Um, but anyway, those are that's my first impression of this game. It just seems to be an updated Rome Total War graphically, and the graphics are nice. It's a nice update. Uh, but I'm doing this on super hard difficulty. Uh, I'm kind of in a bind right now. Um, I've been on or I've passed up a couple turns already, so a few things have happened. I have these two stacks of war bands that I need to deal with somehow. Uh, not much of a military force right now. Mostly town watch, which basically unreliable. Um, so I don't exactly know how it's going to pan out. I'm also going to try something different this stream. Typically, streamers will have people asking them questions, and it's pretty obvious that there aren't very many viewers right now. So what I'm going to do is I found this thing that'll ask you random questions. So whenever I need to maybe stimulate the conversation a little bit, I'll just throw in a question just to bring up some interesting topics. Maybe I can, you know, shed some light on a couple interesting things. While this is going on, um, I'll ask the first question, which is, what topic can you bring up at a family gathering to instantly get everyone riled up? Well, I typically don't rile people up at family gatherings. I'm usually pretty reserved. Um, but if there's one thing that I could say as a possibility, probably anything that's remotely political. My family is Hispanic, and as to be expected, you know, they kind of Hispanics are on average seem to be pretty traditional in a lot of areas, but I'd say politically they're probably centrist, center left on things, maybe center right of center on just a handful of things, but probably mostly centrists and left of center. Me, I'm pretty right of center, so anytime anything pops up that's political, you know, I try not to say too much because my I don't talk about politics too much with my family. Um, but when I do, it can get kind of it's weird. Like I'm not used to talking to family about politics, except for my on my mother's side and my stepfather's side. I probably have a little bit more in common politically with them. All right, so they have four rams. They're probably just gonna run through the center and try to headshot the city. As expected, for Rome Total War AI. They're probably all gonna bottleneck through here. So given that I have mostly Town Watch, I'm gonna have to do something like this. They usually don't go around the sides. That's one thing that they should have done. I mean, I don't know exactly what the process was, but I really hope that they spend some time with updating this remastered version, because there's a lot that they could add that modders have added over the years. Probably the best mod for Rome Total War is probably Roma Surrectum 1, 2, or 3. There's a lot that they added in that game, or that mod. Now the problem with Roma Surrectum is that the pathfinding in the cities is atrocious. Especially when they add fortifications or they add walls or anything like that. I mean, you might as well just not even try to defend the walls, because your men are not going to be able to man the walls properly. They're not going to be able to move properly on the walls. They're not going to be able to walk through the gate properly in Roma Surrectum. And those issues persist in Roma Surrectum 3, which sucks. So I really was hoping that they would have updated the AI in this game, but they didn't. So I guess we have a version of Total War that slightly takes advantage of more hardware, but don't quote me on that. So because they're probably going to just choose the most direct route, I'm just going to wait for them to commit, and I'll just try to hammer them from the sides right here, or maybe back here. Not realistic at all, but that is the game. I have all my strongest infantry guys. My strongest infantry will take them head on. And that should do it. Alrighty. I do like that they added this counter here. It's just nice to be able to see exactly what the troop count is. I also like, just to highlight some of the positives, I like that they updated the camera. You can kind of have more of a modern Total War camera. I like that they give you the option of the color scheme. Like if you wanted the vibrant colors of the original Total War game, or if you wanted this much darker, more realistic color value that you would see in the later Total War games, but also in all the big Total War mods that tried to add realism. I'm gonna fast forward this because we all know that they're gonna knock down the walls. While this is going on, I'm gonna ask another question. How difficult is it for you to try new things? It depends on what it is, really. It also depends on how familiar I am with it, which I guess is kind of the question. Typically, when I find something that I like, I'm very loyal to it. One example of that is food. When it comes to food, like at restaurants that I go to repeatedly, I know what I like, and it's very rare that I'll try something new at a restaurant.
Look to the inner defenses. The walls have fallen to the enemy. The gods have abandoned us.
For example, anytime I go to an Italian restaurant, most of the time, I'm probably gonna get like chicken fettuccine. It doesn't really matter where it is. I typically judge Italian restaurants by the fettuccine. And I'm not really a connoisseur or anything like that, but that's kind of what I go off of. But as far as trying new things other than food, I typically don't. I'm very cautious. Whenever there's something unfamiliar, most of the time I try to study it and understand it more, and try to make informed decisions before I waste or spend time, resources, or effort or whatever on something that I'm not sure about. So as expected, they're all funneling down the middle. What's really funny is that if you play as the Greek city-states, you're surrounded by a lot of factions that have chariots. And so you find yourself doing something like this. You know, just bottlenecking the chariots with their basic militia hoplite unit. And you'll just get piles and piles and piles of chariots. And you can basically hold your cities with pretty much just militia. It's also weird coming off of Roma Surrectum and watching the like how quickly units will rout. Because right now they have the advantage, but because they're gonna bottleneck here and they're gonna rout pretty easily, or once they have 1 or 2 units routing and they run into the units that are coming up, just gonna cause a chain reaction, which makes for quicker gameplay, but it's also nice to spend a little bit of time in a battle. Oh, we do have a unit flanking. I think I'll just wait for them to... Oh, they're tired. I can probably route them with the barbarian mercenaries here. I'm actually kind of excited to... I'm actually excited to see with this game. I'm kind of excited to see just like the graphical updates to maybe a lot of mods that are in place for the original Rome Total War. Like maybe like a Lord of the Rings mod, or just a simple like a medieval Total War mod. I'm excited to see. I actually would be very interested in a medieval Total War mod for this, more specifically a 100 Years War mod, and more specifically than that, a Lorraine campaign, or sorry, the Loire River campaign. You know, with Joan of Arc and all those people. There was a mod for Medieval Total War 2 that was a little bit obscure, but it just converted the map into France, which is pretty neat. It felt a little bit empty, but it was cool to be able to play just as the French and the English, which is actually why I got the game way back when to begin with. So I'd like to see a Total War game just about the 100 Years War. But maybe that's too niche. Dude, this is what I mean. This is absurd. I mean, it... Oh. They just got killed. And my general's dead. Let's not go that way. Let's not go that way. Go this way. You know, look how they just run back and forth. They don't even engage, it's just bad. Basically makes city battles, or at least cities of this size, makes them pretty useless. Okay, now they have the warlord in, so I'm gonna have to be a little more aggressive here. Make sure they don't push me back and create too big of a gap here. See if I can do anything with my cavalry here.
General is dead. His men know their doom approaches.
Is this like a some battle maneuver I'm not familiar with? Is this like infantry Cantabrian circle? Alright. Give them a good charge, see if they don't rout here. They are exhausted. Oh yeah. They're all about to break and run. I'll just stand here and wait for them to break. Not the most realistic battle tactics, but I guess this is what we do for nostalgia. I don't know if they took it out, but there, if you remember, there used to be fighting to the death. Typically, if you blocked a routing unit, they would fight to the death. But I think they took that out, so that's might be one of the gameplay changes they made. Pro tip: this is how you level up a unit very quickly. Is just sending them into a horde of routing units.
The gods be praised. The enemy's hearts are full of fear, and now they flee.
I want to upgrade my militia if I can. I have a feeling I'll be defending this town a couple more times. Funny thing about the Town Watch is that doesn't matter what game it is, any kind of strategy game, anytime there is a militia type unit, I always try to make them viable to some degree. I don't know what it is. I just like the idea of, you know, the citizenry of the town, you know, taking up arms and essentially volunteering to defend the city. I remember in I think I can exit now. It was in Medieval 2 Total War. I played as I think I played as Venice. And Venice has pretty decent militia units, militia spearmen, and militia cavalry. And so I would upgrade their armor all the way, you know, give them plated armor. And so I'd have these pretty low cost armies that were, you know, pretty effective as just as a basic military, just like as a basic army. And I just liked using militia units. I don't think you can really do that in the original Total War because units route so quickly. But you can probably definitely use them to defend cities at a low cost. Definitely if you're the Greek city-states, because you have hoplites, and the hoplites can do the phalanx formation. So I did have an alliance with the Gauls, just because I didn't want to have to fight such a large faction right off the bat. But it being hard difficulty, I'm assuming the game just decided to throw them at me. I freed up this army. Guess I could probably attack them here. So this might be a little bit more interesting. Next question is, if you could have the attention of the world for 1 minute, what would you say? What would I say? Kind of sounds like what boxers and MMA fighters do when they win the championship. They have their 5 minutes of the world's attention. I don't know what I would say. Something along the lines of, I don't know. I wouldn't want to make it too political because, you know, people will react to politics. Maybe something along the lines of, Try to take more responsibility for things. No, it's kind of vague. I don't know, maybe it would be something like, it's okay to be American, you know? There's nothing wrong with being American. And a lot of people wanted to be American for a very long time. Up until a couple decades ago when everybody wanted to be whatever group besides American, you know? That's kind of the thing about having such a multicultural nation. You know, people always talk about the virtues of multiculturalism, and I'm not against there being multiple cultures in a society, but I'm against there being no superculture. Right? Subcultures are always going to form. That's unavoidable. But there has to be something, some kind of glue that will hold the nation together. You know, for some nations, it's race or perceived race. For some nations, it's an ethnic group. Maybe that's not technically a race, but they identify as one group, having a common history. And you can't really join that group. The thing about being American, though, is that we've changed it to mean you know, being American is a set of ideas. It's the only way that America can function in a multicultural society, with a multicultural society. Okay. So I'm going to try to make them engage my regular infantry, and then I will try to flank them with my militia. Over here, what do we got? Got 3 Hastati units. 3 militia units. All right. And move these guys up. Kind of split up here, so if I can't move my cavalry over here in the opening. Combine these 2 wings into one. Gotta get some Pila on these guys. Here we go. Be really careful about them bulging up on Hastati and Town Watch like this, because they will break. There we go. Alrighty, I think this battle's pretty much over. Some upgrades going on over here. Promotions. Oh, they are fighting to the death, so they didn't take that out. I guess they have to be completely surrounded. Alrighty, well, that saves my two cities for now.
Victory and glory! Imperator, onward! General, sir!
Probably need stables. I need to be able to make my own cavalry. Well, let's see. Can already make a study here. Yeah. Like some stables. All right. So throw in another question. What uncommon thing would you like to see become more common? Um, Probably agriculture, independent agriculture, and firearm ownership. I mean, firearm ownership is pretty common in the United States, but I guess I don't mean firearm ownership so much as I mean local militia. And I don't mean like private armies, I mean legitimate civil defense. I mean, that's kind of an entirely different topic that I could get into. I actually made a little documentary. It's about an hour long about the history of the militia in the United States and the history of the National Guard and what is or is not considered a well-regulated militia. But I would definitely like to see legitimate civil defense, local militia fulfill actual roles, you know, be like volunteers in their areas of operation. Um, because there's just something about citizenry taking it upon themselves in a legal and legitimate way, the security, the whereabouts of their own security. You know, we trust police departments to do that for us, and it's not that it's something wrong, but we're the ones that are most responsible for our own security and defense, and it's often outside of our mind. And that doesn't mean that you have to be some survivalist kook that's bunkered up in the woods somewhere. It just means that you have a legitimate community, people from the community that serve their community and perform a legitimate function in their community. Be it volunteer work or firearm teaching, firearm safety. They can partner with police, in a legal fashion, like if the sheriff calls up a posse. There's a lot of ways that local militia can function. But I think it's important for people to be aware of, how their security is going to happen or how they're going to defend their communities if they ever needed to. There's nothing crazy about that. Why do we look both ways before we cross the street? Is that crazy? No. It just makes sense. But you can't say that in today's world. You'd be considered a conspiracy theorist. You'd be considered you know, a Nazi or something. But that is one thing I'd like to see. Okay, so this is probably worse than before. Idle resources report. Settlement deceased. Yep. Burn them all. Stoic philosophy. Want me to blockade this port? How long is that gonna take? 1, 3. Go ahead and ask another question. What would be the best and worst part of being a cat, in my opinion? Probably eating the god-awful cat food that everybody buys for you. Have you ever seen cat food? It's like eating dry Cocoa Puffs every day of your life. It's no wonder why when you give them like tuna fish or something, they just destroy it. Imagine being fed dry pellets your whole life. I guess that would be the toughest part about being a cat. Eating the god-awful food. I really don't want to train Town Watch, but I need to be training something in case I need it. Next question is, where is the strangest place you have fallen asleep? I'll see what I can do about this. Strangest place I've fallen asleep. Maybe not strange, but uncomfortable maybe. Fallen asleep in cars. Fallen asleep at desks in high school. Some people can't do that, and it's not exactly comfortable. But when your eyes feel like they weigh like 300 pounds, and you put your head down on that desk, and you just pass right out, and you wake up like hunched over, feeling a little bit refreshed. Can't beat a good desk nap. I fall asleep on desks a lot, actually. So this is tougher because this town's bigger, so there's less of a bottleneck. And they're still probably going to come down this way, but it's close enough to where they'll probably funnel through here. So really, my only bet would be to do something like this. Reduce the amount of fronts I have. Make sure I can't get easily flanked. And since they're in the middle of the town center, they're going to route and just rally real quick. So I'll just see what I can do with the cavalry as the battle unfolds. Next question is, what is your favorite spice? And besides salt, salt can go on anything. Something that's a little bit more unique. Tony's Creole. Yeah, you can put that on a couple different things. My family on my stepfather's side, they're all Cajun in Louisiana. Cajun French. So everybody over there just puts Creole on everything. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they put Creole on ice cream. They definitely put it on watermelon, which watermelon isn't that bad. You know, it's like putting that tahine stuff. It's like a chili powder. But that's not too bad. I probably wouldn't put Creole on watermelon though. The only kind of spice I like on watermelon is tahine. My stepfather puts salt on his watermelon. As they're breaking down my walls. Next question is, who is someone you need to contact that you haven't? Need to contact that I haven't.
The walls have fallen before the onslaught. Now we must rely on men to be a new wall.
I don't really need to contact anybody right this second.
Look to the inner defenses.
Yeah, I don't know.
To the enemy. The gods have abandoned us. The gods have frowned on us today. The enemy have broken through the walls.
That's nice. What can you talk about for hours? Probably the necessity and effectiveness of firearms in self-defense and civil defense. Militia, National Guard. Multiculturalism. Those are all topics that I feel like I have, if not experience with, a lot of conversation power, if you want to call it that. My system dropped to 20 frames per second there. Next question is, what do you wish you understood better? I would like to know why in the world, not even necessarily why, just give me an explanation as to why anything at all exists. That's really the farthest reaching question. You know, it's not even asking why do I exist, it's asking, why is there matter at all? Why is there, you know, what are atoms doing existing, you know? What process caused them to be there? You know? Some will say the Big Bang caused it. But for what reason was there anything for there to bang in a Big Bang? You know, why is it that the universe follows, you know, a predictable system of rules that we can figure out? You know, what exactly decided the number of atoms in the universe? You know, if matter can't be created or destroyed, why is there, you know, what exactly determines the amount of matter that exists? Is it just random? You know, it just doesn't, it's mind-boggling that there's just an incomprehensibly large universe just functioning out there, following rules and predictable laws. It's just doesn't make any sense. Can someone explain that to me? I don't want to turn on my Pila just yet because I don't want to waste it on dogs. I'm gonna try to hit this unit that's singled out over here. It is raining actually kind of hard outside. Sounds like somebody's throwing like a bucket of water on the window. Hopefully my stream doesn't crash. If we can't hit these guys exhausted. I guess it'll be good if we can take them one by one. Are they just marching in circles? Yeah. City battles are basically unplayable. I don't seem to remember it doing this that much in the original Rome Total War. I think maybe it's... Maybe this remaster made it worse somehow. That sucks. They better offer support for this game. Because if not, then I basically gotta more broken version, or just a broken version of a $30 broken version of Rome Total War. Slightly prettier, but who cares if it's pretty if it's unplayable? One thing I was surprised about when I opened this game up was that I thought it was just Rome Total War, but they have its expansions. Never really played Alexander. I don't really care to, since there's only 2 factions. Seems kind of... I think it was their first expansion that was centered around just one historical figure, which is fine. Never really cared for it. I never had it, but I don't care to play it now. But I did like that they had Barbarian Invasion. I always liked playing as the Western Romans and trying to hold together the Empire, or at least your half of the Empire, against all the barbarian hordes. That's ridiculous. They have 4,300 men just squished into this thing. Reminds me of Medieval 2 Total War. I probably have on Steam alone, I have over like 200 or 300 hours on Medieval 2. That doesn't even count how many hours I spent playing it when I didn't have it on Steam, which was quite a bit. I actually used to sneak into my father's office and play the game on his laptop. That was a long time ago. But the city battles in Medieval 2 were also pretty broken, and so, and I wanted to put more hours into it, but you'd have just broken city battles where the AI just does stupid stuff. Their cavalry would always end up at some random place behind the walls, so you have to, at the very end of the battle, you have to take your surviving guys and send them over there to kill 1 or 2 cavalry units that had gotten stuck on the wall somewhere. So that really sucked. But what was cool was fighting the Mongols. Whichever faction has the elephants that have guns on them. That was actually challenging. It was actually very fun trying to deal with that, because I was using my militia based armies all throughout the Medieval 2 campaign map. Once I got to that far eastern, like, Russian area, I ran into these the armed elephants. They were just impossible to deal with. I mean, they just utterly wiped out my militia armies, because I couldn't get close to them without just getting blown to bits. I tried heavy cavalry, trying to attack them head on and engage the elephants in melee. Didn't work out so well. I tried using flaming arrows, but my archers would rout. I tried bringing my own artillery, which I really never used. So I'd have these huge lines of, these huge lines of, I forgot what they're called in Medieval 2. They're like light artillery pieces. They look like early, like 18th century kind of cannon things, like culverins basically. And you know, I could attack them at long range, but as soon as the elephants would come up, they would wipe out my guys. Totally overlooked that. That's alright. They should be fine. And if I were to load up that save, which is still saved somewhere, I think I've uninstalled Medieval 2. You can still see how I'm still dealing with those armies up there. That's the only interesting thing left in Medieval 2 is fighting those elephant armies. Because everyone else I can pretty much deal with my militia armies. I think I'll give him a little bit of Pila. I've actually been having trouble getting them to actually charge into them. They kind of just trot over there and then they're not actually in charging mode. Nope, never charged. Alright, well that's going on. I'll ask another question. What are your top 5 snacks? Well, since I've kind of shifted over to being a little bit more low carb, keto some days, paleo most days kind of diet, the snacks that I enjoy have kind of changed. On most days, if I want a snack, or how about this? Since I typically kind of increase my carb count on the weekends, I eat more snack foods then. The snack foods that I like to get are usually like peanuts, beef jerky. There's this brand called Tillamook, something like that, that has pretty good jerky. It's zero sugar, so there's 0 carbs in it. So carb-wise, it's a free snack. That's pretty good. I like um pork rinds a little bit. They're kind of hard to eat if they're unflavored. They're still all right just to have a few of them. But if you don't watch out, you could like really dry up your throat eating a lot of pork rinds. But pork rinds a little bit. Chips, typically a little bit cautious with chips. I like chips. There's a lentil chip that's pretty good. I typically eat grain-free most of the time, so there's a pretty good these kettle-cooked potato chips that I found. It's a brand called Siete. And ingredients are potatoes, avocado oil, and sea salt. They taste just like potato chips. They just have cleaner ingredients. That's kind of what I go off of. I know which ingredients I typically don't eat, and I just try to find the best snack foods along those lines. So it might be popcorn or, you know, maybe potato chips or some other kind of chip. Ice cream. There's some okay options as far as low carb ice cream. It can make you feel a little bit bloated if you eat the whole pint though. So have to be careful with that. Cookies. There's a pretty good brand. I forgot what the name was. But they also have very clean ingredients, and they make like chocolate chip cookies, double chocolate chip cookies. They also make very good grain-free baking mixes. They have like double chocolate muffins, banana bread muffins, pumpkin bread muffins. They're actually pretty good, especially the double chocolate and the banana ones. It's grain-free, but I mean they just taste like muffins. So they have a pretty good mix, and they're really easy to make. And each one has about 10 carbs if you make the muffins, which is pretty low considering it's a muffin. Those are pretty good. What else is good? God, this AI is just absurd. There's no way that Rome Total War originally did this. I mean, this is ridiculous. Can't believe they released it. Hopefully they'll patch it. Alright, I'm gonna fast forward this. What other snacks? I'm trying to think. I know there's some that just not at the top of my head. Oh, there's these pretty good bars. Like food bars. The brand called the Good Fats. That have pretty clean ingredients. It's like 5 carbs per bar. They have some flavors that aren't that great, but there is chocolate mint, which is a pretty good flavor. It's chocolate mint, lemon. There's a lemon bar type flavor. The cookies and cream is okay, and the rest, not really for me. But those are pretty good. They're very brittle. Like you'll bite into it expecting it to be like a Snickers bar or something, and it's not like that at all. It's soft, but it breaks easily. But those are pretty good. Considering its size, it's going to be more expensive because it has higher quality ingredients. But they're pretty good. It's a snack you can feel good about. You know, you're not eating tons of sugar. So when I snack, I still keep in mind, you know, ingredients that I don't like to eat. Like tons of sugar, bad oils, grains if I can avoid it, you know. I don't get too crazy about it. I just, you know, take a quick look at the label, make a quick decision. I don't know if you can hear the thunder in the background or not. If you can, then you know it's raining over here. God, this AI is unbelievable. I actually read a negative review of this on Steam, talking about this dance that they're doing. Oh, they're attacking now. And I thought, well, you know, that's probably the extreme, you know. I remember this game working pretty well. But, you know, he's totally right. I mean, you've seen the last couple of city battles I've done. It's unplayable. Like, if you consider this gameplay, I mean, we all remember the AI trying to headshot the city through one street. You know, we all know that's how Rome Total War OG was. But I don't remember this ever happening, so Feral really, I don't know what they messed up, but they need to fix it. This remaster was largely not anticipated for very long. I mean, who knows how long they even worked on it. I don't know if they just wanted to do if this is just a cash grab and they're not going to update it at all, or there's a lot of things they could have done with this. I mean, just improving the AI. If they did that by itself, you know, and added this very slight graphical update, you know, because these graphics are like, I don't really know, but just a quick look, it kind of reminds me of Empire Total War, which also suffered from AI issues. I wish I could play that game more, but it's just the city battles or the fort battles are unplayable. The open field battles are okay, but there's just so many times you need to defend a city and it's just, you can't play it. Here we go. And watch their rank here. I got 3 bronze.
enemy army
And
is
2 bronze. Oh no, they're both 3s.
drive them from the battlefield.
Now we got a silver. Two silver, 1 chevrons. A walking promotion over there. Split them up. No way that they're faster than this cavalry. Two chevrons. See what I'm saying? It's just too easy to upgrade your guys or get promotions. Okay, now it went back down to 1. That didn't make any sense. Guess that was just a glitch. Alright. Well, let's give the town watch something to do. I think they also changed the way some of the stats worked. Because the town watch have a shield value of 5, and I think 5 is the maximum value, which I actually think is a cool little change. I think it's cool because it's representative of the kind of shield that they have. A lot of militia units, you know, have smaller shields or just, you know, whatever it is, but the Roman town watch has a certain quality to it where their militia actually has the highest value shield, which I think is cool. But yeah, now it's 2 and 1. All right, I'm gonna get out of here.
The gods have favored you. The enemy are destroyed. Your victory.
Don't get too excited. Game's bugged. I'd like to stream this game entire campaign, but if it's just nothing but these broken city battles, I don't know. Maybe it's slightly better in Barbarian Invasion. Here's a good question. What's something others purchase that you simply can't understand why? First thing that comes to mind is Madden Ultimate Team. Or just Madden in general. Excuse me as I get on my soapbox here. It's been how long since we've had competition, real competition, in the football gaming market? 2004? Right? There's been 1 or 2 attempts to start something up from the AAA side, but it's largely been just Madden for close to 20 years. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And we all complain about Madden being this or that, but every year, probably millions of people line up to buy that stupid game. Even if it's a playable game, it's not going to be that different from the last version. So it's really not worth getting, because it's not worth getting because we're financing a monopoly. We're financing no choices. We're financing, just lame, boring, regular NFL football. And we're subservient to all the NFL rules about what Madden can do in their official NFL game. That's why I don't like licenses. I mean, licenses are cool and all. They're probably what makes a game a seller, right? It's cool, like in college football, to play as your favorite college or your alma mater or whatever. Admittedly, that's what makes the college football EA games playable. Is, the college football kind of thing. But I mean, football games that are set in fictional leagues and stuff are just so much more creative. You have more freedom. You can show injuries. There's so much more you can do with it. You know? So I don't understand why people keep buying Madden. We are keeping the problem alive by giving it money every single year. Okay, so I need to stop getting attacked. I need to have a good field army I can repel these attacks with. I think I want one more cavalry unit. Or, no, I'll cut it. I'll go to just Hastati. Need to make some Hastati. Cut down on the amount of militia I have in the field. Next question is, what's a food you vow never to eat? I don't know if I vow never to eat it, but I don't see myself eating it anytime soon or anytime in the near future. That would be oysters and or octopus. As salty goodness as it may be, there's just something in my brain that's telling me, don't put that in your mouth and chew on it. And maybe sardines. Though I hear sardines are pretty good and they're pretty cheap too. So maybe I'll try sardines, but definitely not oysters or octopus anytime soon. Let's see. I don't remember if culture penalties were in Rome 1. Maybe they were, but I've been trying to figure out how to, oh yeah, destroy these. Destroy this temple. And build a shrine to Keres. Because we're Roman, god damn it. Repair this wall. Retrain him. It's weird that... Oh, no, never mind. That's not weird. Okay, got that training. Need another one of those. Augusta still needs to grow. See what the Senate's doing. Have no offices. Maybe if I got some help with these Gauls, I could probably, you know, complete some Senate missions. But apparently, I'm just left for dead up here. Next question is, what was a situation where you laughed the hardest, or what was a situation where you laughed the hardest you ever have? So basically, when have I laughed the hardest? One time I remember laughing uncontrollably hard to where I was scared that I couldn't breathe. It was actually inexplicable because I was with my best friend. I think we were in middle school or something. We were in the kitchen just eating watermelon. Pretty normal activity to do. Just eating watermelon over the sink. And I look at him and you smile because we're eating watermelon. It's pretty good. Looks at me, you know, kind of laugh a little bit, giggle, whatever. And then a giggle kind of turned into a chuckle into a regular laugh, a laugh. You know, it just snowballed into this uncontrollable laughter. We were just, both of us were like leaning over the sink, laughing so hard that, you know, we had to stop and try to control our breathing. It was, I don't know if any of you have ever laughed that hard in your life, but it can be, I mean, just, it's, I don't even know what caused the laughter, but I laughed very, very hard. Need to be a little bit on the offensive now because my original plan was to go to Batavium here, and I had a field army head that way, and that's when 2 stacks landed and then did like 3 or 4 city battles, if we want to call them battles, loaded with AI cheese. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We'll do 10 Hastati. Let's see, I'll get rid of the we got a command of 1 or 0 actually. Which one of my generals left has good command? Because pretty much all of them have died in these city battles. I guess Marcus Julius gonna have to be it. Here's a good question. What's something about you today that the old you would find surprising? What's the Spanish doing here? Old me would find surprising. I guess depends on what old me. Uh, I thought I had a good answer to that. I have to think about that a little bit. Um, oh my god. Not what I wanted to do. Locked. Family tragedy. Faustina. This lady has died as she lived. As a shining example of Roman virtue, our family mourn her passing and honor her memory by throwing her into a hole to rot. Something about you today that the old you would find surprising. Maybe that I'm still living in a pretty urban area. I greatly prefer rural areas. Preferably right outside the city. Or maybe that I don't have land yet. Oh, that's good. I have Spain to worry about. Let's get rid of that guy. He's not the biggest threat right now. I'm gonna go this way. If you could assign one household chore to someone else, what would it be? Uh, I don't think I would really assign anything. Something needs to be done, and no one is doing it, then I'll just do it myself. Don't really need to delegate anything. Oh, yes. I remember these Semnite mercenaries. Bonus fighting cavalry. So they're basically spearmen. I'll take them Samnites. Need to be careful because my money's running thin. I'll auto-resolve that one. They're gone. Just move right over here. Prefer to be attacked near mountains. So if there are any absurdly tall mountains, I'll just wait at the top of the mountain instead of me having to go to them. I'll give this army the archers and the mercenaries. Send some militia over here to deal with public order. Not sure what's causing that. Squalor and unrest. Well, let's build the Temple of Keres. Next question is, do I have a secret place? Well, Germania's gone. This once mighty people has been defeated. An obstacle on the path to glory has been removed, but maybe only to be replaced by those that removed it. Well, I guess this universe can look forward to not having World War II, right? If this is supposed to be Germany. I don't know. Do I have a secret place? Like a geographical location? Not really. I wish I did. I wish I had a Resident Evil style just complex underground that I could live in. Just have like a little shack at the top. That'd be awesome. Of course, you don't want to get stuck down there though. Not sure what's going on here. need to repair anything. Takes 1,000 men just to have public order of 75%. Segesta is recently a barbarian town that has 97 with barely any garrison at all. Not sure what's going on there. Let's see. We have round shield cavalry, 3. Some skirmishers. A little bit like Hastati. More cavalry. Iberian infantry. Guess I'll have to attack them. Alright, so I have 2,100 and they have 1,300. Hopefully there's no absurd elevation difference here.
We slightly outnumber the enemy, but take nothing for granted. Victory must still be earned. They will undoubtedly skulk in the woods and hope to ambush some of us. I have never lost a battle against these people.
We have swords, and they don't.
You at my command. Another victory is at hand. Another one of our armies is nearby and ready to fall upon the enemy. Now, set your minds on the task to come. Strike hard. Strike without mercy.
Very Oscar worthy. I think I might feel worse after hearing that speech. It wasn't that bad. The really bad speeches are in Medieval 2. Okay, we got let's see. Let's go. I'm gonna go ranks of 3. Usually go for a double line. Okay. This is my auxiliary line. Keep the town watch in the center. Don't need them on the flanks if I have spearmen. I guess that's pretty good. All right.
Gods be praised! The reinforcements are here! Send them to fight! Dishearten the enemy!
Extra cav unit. I'll keep it there for now. Guess this will be the bodyguard for the general. You guys can skedaddle. Alrighty, so they got pretty good cavalry wings here. I think I'll choose the spearman approach to dealing with cavalry. Instead of trying to take them head on with my cavalry, I will throw spearmen into the mix. Strengthen that side. While they're forming up, next question is, what's the last goal you set for yourself that you accomplished? I have goals every day. It's nothing really that I just decided to call a goal. I did get my brown belt in jiu-jitsu a couple months ago, so I still feel like a purple belt though. Some people really make it feel like a blue belt. I guess that's a goal that I set. I didn't really set, but I guess mentally I did. Dun, 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 dun. Not close enough. Should be good. No. Probably not going to be able to keep my archers in the front for very long. Hopefully they behave like good Rome 1 AI and just let me pelt them. Another question, what's the last thing you did alone and you enjoyed? Pretty much everything. I prefer to be alone in a lot of situations, especially work. Part of what makes work so unbearable is working with other people, especially customers, but also coworkers, just also being like micromanaged is terrible. What makes typically unbearable jobs bearable and actually sometimes comfortable is doing them alone. If I could just work by myself at my own pace, like I'm not trying to, be lazy and not do anything, but I have my own pace, and if I can work at my own pace, I know I like I like jobs and work that where I know what I have to do, and I know that I can finish it in the allotted time, and that's it. That's how I prefer to work in most cases if I can. But what makes working so unbearable is being around people and being constantly redirected, micromanaged. Awful. I do roofing, commercial roofing. It's more waterproofing, but It's on commercial roofs. And you know, I've done jobs where I get there at like 9 or 10 in the morning. I finish the job at like 9 or 10 at night, and I get paid. For me, that's if I have to have, you know, a bread and butter job like that, which I usually do. We all do. Prefer it to be like that. I do not want to sit at some McDonald's somewhere or, you know, deal with, you know, constantly being redirected or told to go over here, then over there, then over here, then over there. I just can't deal with it. Another perk of working alone is that you can listen to music or, you know, podcasts or listen to videos that you like. You know, working actually becomes kind of peaceful. So, if anyone out there is hating their job, maybe you can find something that is lets you work, you know, alone, and you might be able to, you know, handle it more. I also like jobs where I work alone because I can think. I'm left alone with my thoughts. So if I'm a writer, and so if I'm writing something like unfinished, can't believe the AI just stays here. I mean, I kind of remember that from Rome, but this is ridiculous. Since I'm a writer, and if I'm writing something, like some work that's unfinished, uh, if I ever get to a point where I'm stuck, like I don't know exactly where to take the story or whatever, I'm kind of left alone with my thoughts, and I can process it, and you can actually become, you can be a little bit of a multitasker. You can figure things out mentally or think about it or even just talk out loud. Helps a lot when writing. So, I mean, there's so many benefits to working by yourself. You can, and you hate your job, try to do that. I've knocked out 11% of their men. Where are they going? There's my general. Oh, he ran out. Guess I'll move them back. Add them to the bodyguard contingent here. Well, that's not good.
The gods be praised! The enemy general is dead! His men know their doom approaches! Attack quickly!
Why is everyone running? Hopefully I can regroup over here. Well, that went south very quickly. Maybe it was the dogs. Yeah, maybe it was. Take out this cavalry. Well, that helps. Looks like the cavalry is gonna save the day. Get another charge on this unit facing backwards. Here we go. Good. All right. Mm, that general bodyguard is making me worry. See, I'm very tired, very tired. Let's see if I can rest a little bit. My cavalry, I have heavy cavalry compared to his light cavalry, so this should be pretty easy, hopefully. Winded, warmed up, tired. See if I can turn them. Take them head on.
Hearts are full of fear, and now they flee.
Well, like the Cavs saved the day. I think it's a good place to end this stream. Okay. Yeah. Equites. MVPs. I think I'll answer one more question. I'll leave it on a bit of a cliffhanger, you know, just expelled the recent Spanish invaders, probably anticipating. Got a stack right there. Another invasion from the Gauls. I have to build up a field army that can defend these 3 cities before they get attacked. That's what this was supposed to be, and I guess it did that. Just have to rebuild it. Let's see if I can find a decent question. Here's a good one. If you had to pick a single word to describe this year so far, what would it be? Now that's a question that you can take to mean a lot of different things. But I guess I'll take the angle of just the pandemic and the political hysteria. Not getting too detailed into it. Single word to describe the pandemic would be hysterical, full of hysteria. I'm not saying that there's nothing to be concerned about or that you shouldn't take measures to protect yourself, what you think you should do to protect yourself. By all means, do what you feel you need to do. But don't let the media hype that is a special interest group, right? They are privately owned. Don't let media decide everything. Don't let the TV people tell you what is and isn't real and what is or is not official. I'm not saying disregard authority figures or disregard uh, things that are established or supposedly established. I'm just saying use your reason, assess your risk, and do what you feel you need to do to protect yourself. But don't let fear destroy your life. I was reading the other day about maybe it's a bit of an anecdote, but this man who supposedly never took his mask off, not even around his wife, not even when they were alone, not even when they were intimate. And that's the kind of extreme fear that the media knows it's creating, right? We've all seen the leaks from CNN, right? We know who CNN is, right? CNN likes to present itself as a impartial, right? They're the gatekeepers, right? According to Brian Stelter, they are, participating in a harm reduction model, right? No. You know, they're a private organization and they have their own uh, interests just like any other group, right? They're biased just like everyone else, and they're going to give you their own angles, right? They're going to give you the angles that sell or whatever it is that they do. So I would just say, keep calm and make peace. Yeah, keep calm and make peace. I'll end it there. Hopefully you enjoy the stream. I'll be coming on at some point later. I'll see you all in the next one.